Welcome back to another episode. I'm here in the woods. It's me and Mike. Amber's here as well. Today, or tonight should I say, we're going to be doing an overnighter. So expect a bit of food, a few more improvements to the shelter, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Come and follow the journey. So if you're wondering what I'm making, today we're going to be making or should I say we're going to be baking a Viking loaf of bread. That's right, we're going to be baking a loaf of bread in the Dutch oven over the fire, over the long fire pit. Hey, yeah, I know. So what I'm doing now is I'm just mixing this bread mix together, and then I'm gonna knead it into a nice dough. I'm then gonna leave it near the fire in the Dutch oven just to warm, to prove. Hopefully we'll have a nice loaf of bread. I'm going to try not to burn it though. So what we're after is quite a strong, almost elasticy dough. You can see if I try and pull that, it stretches and it springs back. Hopefully this will be a good loaf. Fingers crossed. I've been kneading this for about 5 minutes. I might give it another 5 minutes. And then it'll be time to put it in the Dutch oven and let it prove. So these are walnuts I actually collected a few months ago. The great thing about walnuts is that they store pretty well. I was thinking, why not add a few walnuts into our Viking loaf? A bit more flavour, maybe a bit more energy. So here we are, nicely kneaded. Now it's time to pop it in the Dutch oven and leave it prove. So the dough's in there, it's just on the edge of the fire. There's no hot coals underneath it. It just needs to prove, so it just needs a bit of warmth for the next 15 minutes to an hour. Hopefully it will at least double in size. Fingers crossed. So as you can see, Mike's working on the back, on the gable end, just trying to close off the back. And I am doing a bit of cooking, or baking. So there's the bread in there, it's just proving. We could have let's have a quick look. Remember, we're hoping that this bread will double in size. So if I lift this off, place it there, and look, this is just slightly warm. It's not hot, it's just warm, and that's what you want. And look at that, it's almost doubled in size. Let's put it back on, and then give it another half an hour. So I've just been to collect this. This is a bit of hazel. It was cut down maybe a couple of weeks ago. There's lots of wood. This woodland, it is managed woodland. It's private woodland, remember. And it's a bit of hazel. you'll see what this is about to turn into. Hey? Hey? Oh, Amber, not again. Hey, oh, good girl. Isn't she a good girl? So the first thing I want to do with this is strip off all the bark. So our walnutty dough ball has been proving for about an hour now. Let's go and have a look. Oh yeah, Amber, leave. I'm pretty happy with that. Now it's time to get the fire cranked, get it nice and hot, and we'll put some nice hot embers on top of the Dutch oven as well to make the Dutch oven a bit oven-like. So the next thing I need is some bark. You know, cooking food out in the woods, there's no rule book. It's all about making do with what you have and trying something different. This here, I've been thinking about this for a few days and I'm hoping this will work. You'll see what I mean shortly. So the last bark I collected, it was a bit too dry, a bit too brittle, a bit too fragile for what I need it for. What happened was, as I made a hole in the bark, it split. I think I might need 2 of these. So I'm looking for the halfway mark, roughly there. So now that I've got 2 of these cut, I'm going to try and slot them together. So I've just spotted this nice root, cedar root. If I can, I want to try and uproot it. Oh, thanks Amber, thanks for the help. Wait, that's mine. It's basically cedar bark with cedar root cordage. There you are. Very simple, but hopefully very effective as well. Remember, I've never tried this before, but I've got an idea and I'm hoping this will work. Let's go see what Mike's up to. So Mike, how's it going?
Good.
Talk to me, what are you up to?
Well, we were talking earlier about what we're going to do with this window latch system and how at the moment we could just, this stick can be knocked and it would just flap down.
And the wind, that's right, the wind could easily just blow.
So, I'm going to make a little more, I don't want to go too deep with this auger because it's going to weaken this whole joint.
Right.
But I'm just going to make a little divot basically.
Yeah.
And then possibly point this a bit, the end of this stick.
Yeah.
Just so that it sits in the divot.
Okay.
It only has to sit and rest there just so that it doesn't wobble out.
That's
so
right.
That we can tap it and it doesn't wobble out. If we can do that, then it's fine. But I don't want to weaken this middle log too much.
So just go in, what, just a little bit?
Quarter of an inch, if
Quarter of an inch?
Yeah, quarter of an inch. We're running, daylight is running out as well, so.
It is running out, look, there's the sun, it's going down. We've got the deer hides laid out on this side. Mike's going to make a few improvements to his bed. And
I just need to flatten it off a bit, yeah.
Yeah, level out the legs.
The legs lower, I'm going to take it lower, definitely.
So once you've done that, are you going to take these down a bit as well?
I'm going to take them a tiny bit down, but I may need to keep them there because I might have to pull them out and level out all that wood at some point.
Yeah,
probably not tonight, but so I want to leave a bit of dowel in there.
There's a heap of there's a pile of hides there for you when you've got the bed ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's warm in here.
It's lovely and warm in here. It's surprisingly hot in here.
It really is, yeah.
It's going to be nice and cozy tonight.
Yeah,
especially after some Viking bread loaf with walnuts.
And drinking out of an ale horn.
And drinking out of a what horn?
Ale horn.
An ale horn. An ale horn.
Yeah, just an ox Oxhorn, I think they are.
Not Oxhorn. It'll be very Viking-like tonight when we have an alcoholic beverage, drinking out of a horn. Let's have a quick look at this bread. Oh yeah. So there we are, our walnut Viking loaf. So what I've done is I've just scooped the majority of the embers or the coals away from under the Dutch oven. Yep, the ground is very hot now that we've had a fire here for a few hours, but the heat from the top will hopefully push the heat down onto our loaf and bake it nicely. Let's see if we can bake this loaf without burning it. So the idea with this is that the heat rises and those blades, well, I've tried to make some blades out of the bark. The heat hits the blades and the blades turn, and what happens is it turns the meat. And it's kind of working. Let's have a look, let's check the bread. So here we are, here's our loaf, really hot. And the way to tell if your bread's done, give it a tap. If it sounds hollow, you know it's baked. Oh, that's hot. Well, I said I wasn't going to burn it. Oh, in fact, it smells really nutty as well from those walnuts. So it's slightly burnt here. I could just scrape that off using my saw. Oh, it's so hot. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. That is a nice Viking loaf of bread with some walnuts that I collected a few months ago. Brilliant. I'm going to leave this cool for a bit and then we're going to tuck in. In the meantime, let me show you what we have over here. So what I was making earlier was basically a wind blade. The heat comes up, the heat rises, and it turns these blades, and what happens is it turns the meat. Brilliant. That's the next job. Potatoes, Dutch oven, under the dripping lamb. Guys, look what Mike's treating me to. A Viking horn, we've got beers. Now it's the time to celebrate. We've got some really good food on the go. And Mike, I want to say this has been an awesome project.
It's been good. Cheers, buddy. Thanks.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for having me along.
Thank you for coming along.
Cheers.
Thanks for being part of it. By the way, if you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button, make it turn grey. Thank you very much.
And tick the bell.
So it's been a little while since I updated you. The lamb's doing really well. We've got some new potatoes in the bottom there. And as the lamb cooks, it's slowly dripping fat onto the new potatoes. They're probably about cooked by now. And the lamb's probably almost cooked by now. We could probably carve bits of lamb off the outside of the lamb and eat it. That'd be absolutely fine. Or maybe give the potatoes maybe 10-15 minutes longer. In the meantime, we've got some toast. So this is our walnut Viking loaf that we're toasting off. And shortly I'll be getting out some avocado and smashing up with the back of my fork. and then we'll be having a nice little starter before we tuck into the lamb. I think I'm going to name it the MEAT-COPTER. Slowly turns, and it turns the meat drips down into the potatoes. Perfect. You know, it's taken a long time to get to this stage. It's taken 100+ man hours, a lot of hard work, especially when it comes to the bark peeling, but it feels like it's all paying off. And we you know, this is the first of many overnight trips that we're going to do here. There's lots of improvements. Yes, the roof isn't exactly perfect, but with a lot more overnighters and a lot more hours put into the roof, patching up all those holes, it will eventually be perfect. But you know what, we've learned so much from this project, and we're so grateful to have this woodland, to have this really nice chap that allows us to use this woodland. Thank you very much, guys, once again for watching, and I'll keep you updated shortly. So I've just toasted off a bit of our walnut bread, or our walnut loaf. Some of it's nicely toasted off, some of it isn't quite as toasted as I'd like it to be, but not to worry. Now it's time to, so I've got some salt, I've got a lime, I've got a couple of these avocados. We're then going to be mashing, well, we're going to remove all the flesh from the avocado using my knife because I don't have a fork. I'm going to turn it into a paste, a bit of salt, maybe a bit of olive oil, and a bit of lime juice. We're going to put that onto our toast, and that will just be, well, that will become a starter for tonight's dinner. Mike, are you hungry?
Mate, I'm absolutely Hank Marvin. Cannot wait.
So I'm going to have to re-record this because I just said it and I wasn't recording. But that's the beauty of using a mobile phone when you can't see the screen. There's no flip out screen to see what's actually going on. Half the time when I'm doing these videos, I'm pretty much like shoulder down. I'm talking to you guys, you can't even see me. Anyway, where was I? Well, we've got these lovely starters which have actually turned into the main event. It's our lovely toasted walnut bread with some lovely avocado on top, a bit of salt, a bit of lime juice, and also some of this slow cooked lamb. The lamb, let's just call it the MEAT-COPTER. Basically, it's the helicopter turning the lamb between two fires in direct cooking, and it's so tasty. The walnut, I'm really impressed with this walnut bread. It really is nice, and it complements, you know, the avocado, the lamb, the rub that goes with the lamb, the walnut bread. I think, forget starter, this is the main event. We're just going to keep eating all these all night. Going to keep slicing that loaf of bread, toasting it, lots more avocado. We've got plenty of avocado tonight, and yeah, so just want to say, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll update you guys very soon. So guys, a little update for you. We've had a lovely bit of food. We're now drinking a few beers, as you do around the Viking fire. We've put on a few big long logs, and you can see this is a really big fire. It's actually burning really well. There's not much smoke at all in the Viking shelter. And yeah, so we're just really having a good time. And we just, you know, oh, here we are. Here's the meat, the leftover meat. Oh, yes. So it's been on the fire a few hours. We've taken it off. We don't want it to dry out too much because we are tucking into it every so often. One of us will hold it. The other one will carve away with our knife. And you can see there, it's so crispy, and it just is so tasty as well. Trust me. Well, it's about midnight, and we're going to call it a night tonight. We've had some great food, great banter, some great drinks, maybe a few too many drinks, but we'll leave it at that. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Good night. Whoa, morning everybody. Sorry I didn't get much filming done last night. We had some good food, a couple of drinks, and then things went a bit blurry, so I don't really know what happened. But look, I just want to say thanks again for watching the video. The next video I'll do will be a little bit like the previous ones, and it'll be a bit more informative. I had such a great night last night with Mike. It was great staying in the Viking Shelter. Our first proper camp out in the Viking Shelter. Well needed, a good celebration, some great food as well. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with what we've built here. I wasn't too sure what to call that contraption, you know, with the blades and the meat underneath and the meat turning. But I've had an idea. We've had a talk about it. I think we're going to call it the MEAT-COPTER. Yep, that's right, the MEAT-COPTER. So now we're just packing up, breaking down camp, and then yeah, we're gonna call it a day. This was where I slept last night, on the deer hides. Got some more hides over here. Tell me in the comments if you know what animal this is. You know, the fire's well and truly gone out, but there's still quite a lot of heat in those rocks. Incredible. This is Mike doing his closeout.
We've taken into consideration some of your suggestions, and the next part, which hopefully will be coming, something that you guys wanted us to build.
Thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I'll be back soon, not sure when, but definitely be another irregular upload. And yeah, hopefully I'll be down back here doing another camp out, maybe with Amber, maybe with Mike again. We'll see what happens. But again, guys, thank you very much. Take care.